So filming a video that I never thought I'd have to, which is really quite depressing and saddening, to be honest with you. Obviously, Terra, the Luna ecosystem, has pretty much capitulated at this point. UST depegged, death spiral did occur, and the amount of Luna minted just meant that Luna went to pretty much oblivion. They've now cut back the amount of Luna that can be minted, and that's why you're seeing a bit of a price rally, but it's still like 0.0000 and change. So it's effectively gone to nothing, which is, really, really upsetting because it was a large proportion of my total portfolio. The use of the stablecoin UST as a savings account as well to like stable up into was something I used, and I'm sure many of you have as well. So this has been a really raw one to try and film and really get through because, yeah, the emotions are still pretty bad right now. So radio silence over the last week from me, pretty much just trying to come to terms with what has happened and how this is all capitulated so quickly. A few reflections on that, just the fact that essentially too many eggs put into one basket, and I think for the future, looking at set percentages to have on specific chains needs to be addressed. And there's a few things that I've been thinking of, not that we'll go into full detail right now, just to cover the basics that essentially, Terra is dead as was. UST as a stablecoin is no longer going to fly, and the Luna token is pretty much zero. So that is where we stand right now, which is rather embarrassing, upsetting, depressing, all of those things. Apologies to anyone who got in on my recommendations. Everything has been done with the best of intent. Clear to see me and the other boys as well started our own Terra focused podcast due to the fact we saw a load of opportunity to, this was the first chain with actual applications that were friendly to use, UI and UX experience second to none. So the builders behind some of the protocols on here, hats off to them. Just what we thought was being developed and what was developed was some of the best applications in the whole of the crypto space. But unfortunately, the backbone of this all, which is the Luna UST mechanism, is what caused this to capitulate. Now, in terms of how that's happened, not going to dwell on things. It looks like it was, taken out by someone with a big bankroll. I think maybe the cockiness and arrogance of Doe came to essentially bite us on the bum in the end here. Maybe sponsoring the Washington Nationals, which was in the home state of the SEC, in retrospect, was probably poking the bear one too many times. And then this is the comeuppance that has occurred off the back of that. So, yeah, pretty devastating blow. Reading some of the messages online of people who have, taken things into their own hands. It's really upsetting to see what's happened and the effects on many people out there. So this is a good time for just reflection, to be honest with you, and to think things through. In terms of a channel going forward, though, of course, I'm a resilient person. We're going to get through this and then move on to strategizing for the next market cycle, because that's all that can be done really from here. You've got to pick yourself up from the lows and do better next time. That's as simple as it is. So tuition paid in full here on this one. Big mistakes made. We will learn from them and progress forward. Like, I'm not going to give up. And thanks for the support from anyone who's reached out. It means a lot. There's been a lot of positives. Of course, quite a few negative messages that I've received as well. I'll take those on the chin on top of that. But thanks for all the support from the people who have reached out with kind messages, just to check on mental state, etc. In terms of the other boys as well, Josh and Vaughn on the pod, of course, everyone's rather upset with this, and there's obviously a big financial loss, but also in terms of where the podcast was heading, where we thought we could take it as well. That as well is a real gutting loss, and maybe, to be honest with you, one of the bigger losses for me as well, because I was really enjoying how that was coming together and the ideas we were sharing, the camaraderie and stuff. So yeah, there's some really bitter pills to swallow right now. So won't keep this too long. In terms of the future, there's proposals here up on the governance site. But to be honest with you, I don't really see how it can continue from here. So anything that can be salvaged monetary wise, at the moment I've chalked everything off as a zero. So anything more than that would be positive. In terms of the applications, though, there's talk of some of them moving to different chains, starting up their own chains. So any investments in those tokens may not be a zero, but I don't want to get my hopes up at this stage. And NFT wise as well, some of the NFT projects have already stated they're going to move to other chains. So those communities will live on, and for good reason, because NFTs are purely a community driven space. So there may be some silver linings from this, but obviously at this moment in time, with emotions being so raw, it's a hard one. So just wanted to, end the radio silence, just kind of sum up how I'm feeling about all this stuff right now. And, hope everyone else out there is doing okay, especially if you're heavily invested in this ecosystem. Watching something blow up that's dear to you is very upsetting. So big lessons learned, and we'll try and progress forward and, start building out some more content, reflect on things over the next few days, and try and come back stronger. So that is pretty much it from me. Leave any comments or questions down below and I'll try and get back to you guys, but just trying to get through the kind of stages of grief here, to be honest with you. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Goodbye.